Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abel Tembe. Welcome to my presentation. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and that is different learning styles. So, welcome to my presentation. This is OPV 122 Online Badge Activity 3, another section of celebrating my learning style. Welcome, sit back, and enjoy. So the question that comes in is, what are learning styles? First of all, learning styles can be defined, classified and identified in a variety of ways. Generally, the overall patterns that provide direction to learning and teaching. Learning style can also be defined as a set of factors, behaviors and attitudes that facilitate learning for an individual in a given situation. Styles influence how students learn, how teachers teach, and how the two interact with one another. So another question again is, how many learning styles are there? So some people say there are 7 learning styles and some people say there are 4 learning styles. However, let us focus on the most common learning styles, and that is visual learning, analytic learning, auditory learning, verbal learning, and kinesthetic learning. So what is the definition of visual learning style? So visual learning refers to a learning style in which learners prefer to use or find it most effective to use pictures, charts, graphics, colors and maps to communicate their thoughts and ideas. Sort of like they need to see the information in order to process it and visualize it. So there is also another type of learning style, and that is analytic learning, analytic learners. So it's also known as logical learners. It refers to learners who are mainly interested in acquiring new information and accurate facts that can actually lead to their understanding of different concepts and processes. So their method of learning is by thinking carefully throughout their experiences, judging the accuracy of what they encounter, and examining all the possible details. And there's also another type of learning style, and that is auditory learning style, auditory learners. These students, they learn most effectively by listening. There's also another type called verbal learning style. In other words, these are verbal learners. So these students, they prefer to actually learn verbally by reading or by listening. So the question that comes in again is, what are my learning styles? So myself, I'm a combination of 2 learning styles. I'm a visual and analytic learner. So question number 1, how have you been utilizing this type of learning style as a part of OPV 122 this semester? Well, in preparation for an OPV 122 assessment, I usually use color coding, flashcards, and I use post-it notes. Color coding, that is using different colors to color my notes, I think it plays a great role in helping me to visualize the information. And also post-it notes. Post-it notes is literally because I can post it anywhere in my room. It helps me to visualize the information in order to remember it as well. So, and as a part of my analytical side, I like to hear the facts first, critically analyze, and I prefer the information to be presented in a sequential and logical format, so I can make sense of it, of the concepts and processes as part of my analytical learning side. So being an analytic learner has assisted me in a variety of ways. It has helped me to critically analyze and examine the content where we are taught on OPV 122. I am more curious about the content, and I ask myself many questions and enjoy answering them as well in a much deeper level. For instance, on the OPV module, we've been introduced to nature and measure of intelligence. So we've been introduced to many concepts concerning intelligence, and as an analytic learner, I reflect much on the concepts we've been taught, and I analyze these concepts. It gives me more understanding of them in a more deeper meaning, and as a result, I find it easier to process the information and share it with my peers. So if it is a multiple choice assessment, it helps me to analyze all the options and not actually choose the first plausible answer, but also analyze all the other answers. So being an analytic learner has assisted me in a variety of ways. It has helped me to critically analyze and examine the content where we are taught on OPV 122. I am more curious about the content, and I ask myself many questions and enjoy answering them as well in a much deeper level. For instance, on the OPV module, we've been introduced to nature and measure of intelligence. So we've been introduced to many concepts concerning intelligence, and as an analytic learner, I reflect much on the concepts we've been taught, and I analyze these concepts. It gives me more understanding of them in a more deeper meaning, and as a result, I find it easier to process the information and share it with my peers. So this is my poster for my learning style. So analytic learners prefer to study on their own for long periods of time. That sort of like enables them to work effectively without getting interrupted. And they focus more on factual information, in other words, the bigger picture, and disregard any information that is actually not much relevant. So they prefer to respond to a problem with logic instead of using their emotions. So, and they like to solve problems systematically and also logically. So how did you incorporate principles of a growth mindset as a part of your OPV 122 learning journey? Well, one of the things that I have learned is that failure is actually an opportunity to grow. In OPV thus far, I've learned that challenges help me to grow. I actually failed my OPV module in the first semester, and as a result, I was sent to winter school camp as a second opportunity. I had to sub, in other words. However, in the OPV winter school, I managed to pass with 84%. I got a distinction. So this is just a proof that my efforts and my attitudes are actually the ones that determine my abilities. So that sort of like assisted me to shift from a fixed mindset that I cannot do some of the things to a growth mindset that I can actually do everything. I can learn anything as long as I put my mind into it.